Hello and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train a Dragon podcast. I'm your host, HC, and with me all.
Rush 2112.
And Wolf.
And today on the show, something a bit different. Ever heard about the Bechdel test? No? Well, let's talk about it. The Bechdel test is a measure of the representation of women in fiction. It asks whether a work features at least two women who talk to each other about something other than a man. The requirement that the two women must be named is sometimes added. So yeah, this is a test that's been around since 1985, from what I've heard, and
I like how Rush probably noticed this too. I like how you consistently used woman and not women, the singular form.
yeah, I noticed it
Maybe
myself, but it's like no, I'll just keep going. Maybe
I mean,
Oh, it's too late now.
yeah, it's too late now. Women, that's it. I apologize for that. But anyway,
Mhm.
this test first appeared in 1985, and people are still running it across all type of fiction, specifically movies. I'm not sure if TV shows are really put under that test, but whatever. The thing is, this test has nothing to do with the movie's quality. It's it just tests it just puts to test the representation of women in said media. And
Yeah, I was going to bring it up if you didn't. Yeah, but it's very much like this is the lowest bar for representation for women in media. It doesn't determine whether the movie is good or not, or whether the movie is quality or not. There are plenty of really classic movies that completely fail this test, right? It doesn't
uh,
say anything about those movies necessarily.
yeah, like I think I don't remember where I exactly heard it, but look at Argo, the Ben Affleck movie. And that's a really appreciated movie critically, and also won an Oscar, if I recall. And it fails that test.
Mhm.
So
And they can all
this
fail
is
for
not.
different reasons. One
Oh yeah,
for like if you remember, it either has at least two women. Well, some of these movies just have one woman, and I mean
or
it's more
none.
Yes.
about it's more about representation than. When I first heard this test, it's like I can't believe all these movies have women that only talk about men, but it's not just that. It's just if some of these movies don't have women at all, which I mean still is an unfair, but it's kind of how you
Like
look at it.
yeah, you'll have a lot of really great movies that fail this test, and you have a lot of really terrible movies that pass this test with flying colors.
Hmm.
Again, it's
Exactly.
nothing about quality. Like if you want a more recent movie, A Quiet Place, which a lot of people have really praised for being a really good movie, fails this test,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm not sure about this, but I think also a lot of the MCU movies don't really pass this test, which, a lot of people like the MCU, myself included. I'm a big fan, but yeah, some of these movies don't pass this test. So again, the point is, when we talk about if How to Train a Dragon passes this test, it doesn't mean that we are trying to look for something in its quality. We are not saying that if it doesn't pass, it's not good. We are not saying, you know, it's just we thought it would be a fun discussion episode to talk about, and so here we are. With that said,
disclaimer: we're telling you that How to Train Your Dragon is terrible if it fails this test.
Hmm.
disclaimer: this is a How to Train a Dragon podcast. Do you think we care?
Well, yeah, of course we care if How to Train Your Dragon is terrible. We're fans, after all. That's the entire point. If we didn't care, we wouldn't be here.
Do you hear the silence, Wolf?
Yes, and I'm ignoring it.
Great, because the silence is telling you to stop because you are unfunny. But that's another trouble for another day. Anyway, back to the Bechdel test. How to Train a Dragon 1. From what I've seen, it passes. And
How
honestly,
so? Because I don't think it does.
It has two women, two girls,
Yeah, we have Astrid and
And
Rafnat, so both of them are
they do
named.
talk, and it's not about women. I mean, it's a very loose talking, but it's not about men. So
I mean, the only thing I can think of when they talk is, it's not fun if you get a scar out of it, right? Like that line from Astrid where Roughnut says she hopes she gets a scar or a burn or something.
Yeah,
right.
And that's Astrid's
exactly.
response.
I feel like that's the only reason
feel
it
like-
passed, because they
I feel like you're stretching it.
I
Yeah,
know.
like,
Even I
think
agree it's a stretch, but I'm just saying that that's probably why. Because I thought there's a website that says they passed the test, and this one did.
Yeah, there is like the Bechdel test movie list. I'm not sure how like official that is. I don't know like anything about the site, so I can't really say one way or another, right? But according to that site and the comments within it, it passes. Yes. I
Like,
think
you
it's
know,
a stretch though, but
Yeah, it's it passes by the edge of its skin.
Well, yeah, I feel like
If a movie has,
that website takes the rules verbatim. Well, there are two women and they're conversing, and it's not about men. Pass like that. That is. I mean, there's extensions of the test where it's like, they have to have a meaningful conversation, like two women saying hi.
we
Oh,
should
passes the
point out
test.
there are different versions of this test. Like,
But
it's
we're
not.
doing the base Bechdel.
Yeah, we're going very basic here, because if we go over every variation, we'll be here all day. So,
how do you like your Bechdel? We like it vanilla.
well, vanilla is the best ice cream flavor, if you ask me. And that's why nobody asks me anything about food, except can I watch Gordon Ramsay videos with you, but that's not for here. So we can all kind of agree that How to Train Your Dragon 1 passes by the by the edge of its skin, like it barely passes. Now for How to Train Your Dragon 2. No, I think that's the short answer. Like, we have three female characters. We have Astrid, Rafnat coming back from the first movie, and we have Valka. So Astrid and Rafnat do talk to each other again very briefly during that scene where all the riders are on that icicle, but they're talking about men. Astrid talks about how Stuart and Gabriel should have been back with Hiccup by that point, and Rafnat is talking about Eret. So that's a no. And then, Astrid and Valka don't really talk in the second movie, do they?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
They don't talk, and
Just
Valka
look at
and
one another from afar. That's about the best you get.
Yeah, and Valka and Rafnat sure don't talk to each other. So, yeah, I don't think it passes. Pretty simple.
It's pretty much all that you can say. Like, it doesn't pass. Not much more you can add.
Yep, it doesn't pass. But hey, now, to those who don't know, I got the chance to see Hidden World early. So, without anything to give too much away, because we'll only do an episode about it once it's out in North America, all I'll say is that, like the first movie, it passes by the edge of its skin. And even that's a bit debatable. Like, it depends on how technical you want to get with it, but that's for another time, not now.
You heard it here first. We can judge HC when we've all seen the movie.
Astrid talks to the Light Fury. That's why he's saying pass by the skin.
Well,
Don't you say
actually,
anything.
no,
I was
but-
just a joke. It was just a joke, okay? You
Yeah,
don't
but
have to
even
get
as
don't say anything.
But even as a joke,
Don't it? You're nope. I moved him out of the channel because he has a tendency to spoil things.
I mean, I can say that it's technically passing
Yeah.
if it's true.
the Light Fury has no name, therefore doesn't count.
Well, no,
And
they
I'm
don't
not-
have to be named. And also, the Light Fury is a name. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Noblest
not.
is
Which
a name. What are you talking
Astrid
But
gives
it's not
to
an
her.
official name.
about? Official, unofficial. We all know DreamWorks will adopt it.
We're unofficially crap, But does that stop us? I think not.
We're
No.
not crap. We're debatably amusing and professional.
Mhm. No, there's no debating on the. I just read straight out of a Wikipedia article. That's not professional, despite what I might told you before the recording. But anyway, Hidden World passes by the edge of its skin. If you ask me, once you see the movie, you can tell me if you think I'm wrong or not. We'll come back to this at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do we have? What do we got for the shorts? Like again, it probably doesn't count much because I'm not even sure if short films go under this category. But yeah. Okay. Book of Dragons doesn't pass. It only has asterisk, so that's a no. What about Legend of the Bone Apple?
I mean, it has Astrid and Roughnut, but there's no conversation between them,
I
so
don't
it still
think
wouldn't
they've
pass.
So that's a no.
Gift of the Night
Gift of the-
Fury technically passes, I think, because there is a conversation between Astrid and Roughnut that isn't about men.
Yeah, it's not about, but then again, it's not both of them specifically. It's like all the writers together. Like, so the question is, does it count? Or is it another passes by the edge of?
Depends on how you want to stretch it.
Okay, no. For the sake of the argument, let's say it passes. It has two characters that have a name, and they're talking about something that's not men. So
fair enough.
Okay, so we have this now. Race to the show, the TV show.
Which one? Race to the Edge or?
You know what? Let's split it by every subtitle change, like Riders, Defenders, to the Edge.
So we're doing Race to the Edge first, or?
Let's start with Riders. It's the first one. It's the first season.
Okay, Riders.
I don't like. Okay, let's not cut around the bush. We have Astrid, we have Roughnut, and we have Heather. Now, I think Astrid and Heather do have a solo conversation, if I recall, but it's about Hiccup. So.
Yeah. I don't. So does it fail if that's the only thing they talk about, or if there's only a conversation that they talk about? Because I know they talk about more than that, but I couldn't remember if the test says like.
The test says it has to be about something besides a man. So if they do have a discussion about a man, if they have another discussion that's not about a man, then as far as I'm aware, that's passing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They can do both. They just can't do only the one.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure they talk about something else too. More about so.
It's brief, but they do have like a conversation between the two of them. And I think Roughnut and Astrid have a bit of back and forth in Riders of Berk too, but it's, again, very small.
And Roughnut would never talk about a man with Astrid.
You know, so that will be a fanfic. Love to see someone write actually, but not canonically we don't.
So Riders.
So Rider, we kind of agreed on it passes. I think.
Some of the episodes might fail, but most of it I would say passes.
Well,
right. Well, there are some episodes where it's none of the other female writers are in it, so they would fail because they don't have two of the two women.
On that note, when we judge a season of a TV show, do we go episode by episode, or does it or is just one episode enough to pass the entire season?
That's a good point, because I mean, if you do character-centric episodes, you wouldn't really think about running them against a Bechdel test. Not that it's a real standard for how good it is, how good a TV show is or movie is.
But still, even if quality though. Even if
I would say give it an overall look. Like if more episodes
Yeah.
pass, then the season as a whole passes. If
Yeah,
more
well,
episodes fail, then the season as a whole fails.
I mean, the whole idea of the test is to do representation. And again, I'm going back to if it's a character episode, it's more specific. You're not really thinking about representation. You're thinking about that character specifically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like yeah, definitely from a overall perspective.
Yeah.
So is that like on top of my head? I can't think of anything. Is there an episode besides Heather's report that really passes?
Not
Well,
right off the top of my head, no.
I
But
mean,
like I
there's
think we already said.
yeah, that it's
ahead.
either that they have like minor conversations between, or like they, I don't know, do we say conversations or like in transition?
I would say
Again.
kind of like jabs back and forth between Ruff and Astrid is about the best you might get,
Right.
and even that's very rare. And
Yeah, especially Rafna doesn't really talk in Vidal's.
she doesn't have a lot of lines. Neither her, like a lot of the side characters don't have too many lines. It's mostly Hiccup, Astrid, Snotlout, a little bit of Fish Legs.
Tough has a few lines here and there. But
I think that's because it's T.J. Miller and T.J. Miller are funny, so let T.J. Miller do his thing.
yeah, by the right place to discuss this. But apparently, T.J. Miller is not voicing Tough Nut in that third movie.
That's
Was
an
a shock.
entirely different topic in and of itself.
Yes, but I don't know. I just felt mentioning it. Ignore this. Moving on. So Defenders. Again, on top of my head, I don't recall anything that will make the season either pass or fail. So, but if I can't really recall anything that will make it pass, it probably means it fails. Then again, it's been a while since I watched any episode from Defenders. What about you guys?
For me as well, it's been a while since I've seen anything. I don't think it inherently fails. Again, I think there is like your jabs back and forth between Roughnut and Astrid here and there, but there's probably a lot of episodes where it doesn't exactly pass either, because there's a lot of episodes where Astrid and Roughnut aren't really the ones speaking to each other. They're just kind of involved in a conversation with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So
actually,
again,
something for the female characters that are in every for the most part in each incarnation, quote unquote, of this franchise, they don't really talk a lot to each other
until Race to the Edge.
Right.
Even so, like
some of them don't, sure, but like there's more of it in Race to the Edge, I feel, than there is in Riders of Berk and Defenders of Berk.
But then again, we get a lot more episodes.
This is true.
Yeah.
Is the episode density though, like, is on a per season basis? Maybe. I mean, you could still argue that on a per season basis, there's still more, because it seems like as opposed to 1, 2, or 3 episodes per 20, we get 1, 2, or 3 episodes per 13, where they at least have an interaction, right?
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Yeah. Okay, so us from the memories we have of it.
Yeah, overall, possibly. Definitely more on the yes side than the no side, I feel.
Okay. So moving on to Race to... So again, like we said, I think because it's longer, like there are a bit more opportunities where Astrid and Rafnat actually talk to each other a bit more. I don't recall specifics, but
I know one episode that inherently fails because it's Astrid and Heather talking about Hiccup and Fish Legs.
I was about to, but we are becoming a bit like a bigger role in the series, and then we get is it called Have Drunk Travel? I think. Like the two-parter from the first Rest of the Edge season?
No. We're talking about it later when, like, Fish Legs and Heather are a thing. and Heather asks Astrid how things are going with Hiccup.
Yeah, that's in the first season of HTTYD.
No, that's later. There's one when they
I'm
come
pretty...
back.
What do you mean when they come back? Like,
Well, Heather leaves and then comes back, right? She goes in the season 2. She's with Dagger. Season 3, she comes
yeah,
back.
no, but season, I remember that.
Well, but I'm saying like in season 4, she's like messaging Fish Legs, right? Remember how Fish Legs is using Terror Mail to talk to Heather?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're talking about HC's wanting to bring up the How Dragon Will Travel Part 2 in Season 1, where Heather and Astrid are...
I know
throwing
that,
axe-
but
or
you were
throwing
talking
axes
about... I thought you were
No, I was
talking
referring
about...
to the same thing.
What?
That's
I
the
thought
scene where, like, Heather asks Astrid if she's interested in Hiccup, and Hiccup asks, well, who would you be interested in? And Heather says, well, I kind of like Fish
Oh,
Legs.
right, yeah.
I like that type of guy.
They do the same exact thing, but further in the relationship in season 4. I
They
thought
do.
that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, they do
No,
that
so,
too, but
like,
no, I was referring to this bit first.
All right,
That
well, I
was-
think I'm done for the episode because I've completely made an ass of myself.
No worse than normal.
This gentleman gives up.
You can go
after
now.
One. Anyway. So yeah, we have that scene which definitely doesn't pass, but at the same time, is there anything else in the first season of Rush to the Edge that really talks about this? I don't think so.
No, nothing comes to mind.
Okay, so moving on to the second season. Again, we have Astrid and Heather being in touch, and you know, Astrid being at the beginning knowing that Heather is on their side and is spying on Dagger and the hunters for the riders. But then again, most of the conversations about this are, should we tell Hiccup? Last time I checked, Hiccup is a male, so that pretty much kills this season's chances of passing.
There's like, the episode where we have Roughnut and this is gonna be really. I think it's Tali. I can't remember her name.
Atali?
You mean the...
Yeah, Atali.
Atali.
The girl from Wing Maiden Island. Yeah,
Yes.
Atali.
Yeah, but again, we're on season 2. Hold
you're
on
on
a
season 2.
second.
I mean, I'm doing an overall thing here.
Okay, but I think just because it will be easier to actually discuss this if we went season by season, because
You expect
then
people
we
to
would
remember this far back. You expect me to remember this? I'm old, HC.
He's
I can
old.
remember things from yesterday,
Well,
let alone
well,
months ago.
yeah, but
Years
here's
ago.
the thing. But here's the thing. Atali is way more recent.
That's why I remember it, even though I forgot a part of her name or a letter of her name.
There you go.
I couldn't remember that. So see,
I don't even
Either
remember I'm
way-
on the Berkcast every Saturday morning.
Like I'm looking for a reaction. And it's like, well, it's Wolf. I can't win. Fair enough. Whatever. I don't care.
either way, like season 2, I would say. I would say some of it probably passes. Some of it probably just like everything else.
I think this is probably the answer for all Race to the Edge seasons. Quickly going over all of them in my head. Like I don't remember in season 3 something that's really, even though we have a new female character, we have Mala, but again, does she really talk to either Heather or Astrid or Rafnat about
In threats,
something that's not men?
In threats, yes.
At
Well,
first,
Well, season
Then there's
3.
the-
I mean, that's the very end of season 3, right? So
yeah,
and
the
then there's
tail end.
very much like Mala being
Regal.
Well, not so much that, it's like, the entire episode of like testing Snotlout to see if he can be king. So, and
True,
that's like
but
very much centered around Snotlout. So that kind of takes away from it, I suppose you could say.
yeah.
It's not how I intended that, but I'm glad you took it that way.
No, I'm just saying anything centered around Snotlout is probably not going to pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
That's what I was taking it.
So I think Snutter will be one of those people who actually hates that test. It's like, why does this even exist?
Probably.
So for season 3, I don't really have anything for as well. Again, when I say I don't have anything, again, it also comes to mind that I didn't have the time to rewatch every episode of the shows, so we might be missing something here. I can't remember everything on top of my head.
I don't think looking up like the episode list real quick and kind of skimming through, I don't think there's really all that many episodes in season 3 that would pass. I think most of the episodes that would pass are probably going to be a little bit in season 1 and 2, especially season with Heather, and then going back into season 4 onward with more of Heather and Matali and Mala.
Yeah, so and season 4, I don't recall anything. Again, I don't think there's anything in particular. Like there could be a chance of like Astrid and Heather talking to each other about something, or we get to see more of Mala. Maybe she talks to one of her soldiers who is a female. I don't know. Season 5, however, is where I think things are getting interesting, because we get the Wing Maidens. And I'll say there's a good chance that thanks to the Wing Maidens, it might pass. Might.
The tribe everyone loves to hate is the reason why it passes the Bechdel test.
God forbid that's the reason why they hate him.
I wasn't going to say that, but sure.
I was, because I'm already on my down streak for this episode. Might as well keep it going.
I mean, I don't consider that a down streak.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What do I want to say on this? Again, I don't necessarily remember all of it, like every bit of dialogue, but I think that clip that they released a bit before the season aired, and when people thought they were flying people and didn't even think about the the razor wings on their backs. I think in that clip alone, like, makes this season pass the Bechdel test, because they don't really talk about they don't talk about men there, if I remember.
They don't.
Well, there you go. We have we have 3 characters. We have Atali and we have Rafnat. Is Astrid there as well? I think she is.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. 4 women with a name, not talking about the men. Race to the Edge season 5, in my opinion, the most disjointed season in the show, passes the Bechdel test. Remember when we said that this test is not necessarily about quality? There you go.
Fair enough.
Agreement, yay. Season 6.
Again, I would say season 6, like, passes somewhat, fails somewhat, but overall I'd say passes.
Yeah, I think the one episode that might count as passing is the one where Rafnat has the baby razor wing.
On Wingmaiden Island.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else? Actually, to ask you, do you think any of the books pass this test? Like, I can probably tell one the original How to Train Your Dragon and How to Be a Pirate, probably not. From the third one, when we have Kamikaze, that's a possibility. But you know better than me.
Kamikaze's not introduced until the third book, and she's the only female character in the third book, as far as I'm aware, and she never talks with any other females, so that would still fail. Like, there is, it's been a while since I've read the book. There is one book I think would pass because it's Kamikaze with another group of females who are bog burglars, because the bog burglars are all females, so she's traveling with them, and they have a small conversation. I don't think it's about Hiccup, but I think it also might be about Hiccup, so that book also still might fail. Overall, I would say most of the book series would fail because more often than not, it's Hiccup and Fish Legs together doing stuff, or Hiccup on his own doing stuff, or Hiccup with other people doing stuff, and there's not too many females that are around. So,
okay, fair
book
point.
series overall might fail, I think.
Next week, your favorite fan fictions. Do they pass or fail the Bechdel test?
You know that will literally be forever. Okay, you know something? I'll humor you. Oh, no. My most favorite How to Train Your Dragon fanfiction doesn't pass this test because it only has Astrid in there with Valka mentioned by name, not actually talking. So there you go. It doesn't pass.
Fair enough.
Rush, what about your fanfictions? Do they pass the Bechdel test?
I'm gonna go back to my favorite tetralogy, and yes, it does.
Well, Lord and behold, Rush did something better than me, which is passing the test.
I also moved you out of the channel better than you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, nothing to say about that. Wolf. Wolf, is your fanfiction passes? Okay, no, it doesn't. Sorry, there's no females in there.
Which I have not even mentioned a fanfiction.
You already just assumed you knew.
You said you only wrote one, and we read it in the show.
You said your favorite,
not the one you wrote.
Yeah, you said your favorite, not the one I wrote, not the one we wrote.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why do you think Rush mentioned tetralogy? He's not wrote anything that long.
I've never. Yeah, I wouldn't even write. I can't even write like 2 chapters. Okay.
Amateurs. Anyway, but
you've not written anything that long either.
He doesn't even get a chance to defend himself. How dare he insult us? So, well, how is your? What is your? Does your favorite fan fiction pass the Bechdel test?
I'm trying to think. It's been a while since I've read it. Thinking of Hitchups, I don't think it does. Because there's females in it, but there's different females in it, sure, but none of them really get together to have a conversation with one another. So, as far as I'm aware, no, it doesn't pass. Thinking on, I Hear Him Scream.
Hey, Rift, by the way.
Yeah, Hey, Rift, by the way. I don't think it passes, because I don't think there's a major conversation between... No.
Does Astrid have a mom in that one or not? It's been so long since I read that.
She does. She is grouped with another lady who's some random Viking.
Right.
Not really named, but like they do have a conversation with one another, and it's not about Hiccup. It's about Astrid being in trouble and things. So,
right.
I would say it passes. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think her and Roughnut also have a bit of a conversation too, and I would say, yeah, it passes.
So I think that a lot of the How to Train Your Dragon post How to Train Your Dragon 1 fan fictions suffered from they wanted to do a story, but they didn't really care to do like extra characters, so they just kept Astrid and Roughnut, and those are, I mean, given their personalities, those are 2 characters that even the creators of the show or the movies don't put
HC,
together.
what are you doing?
There's a reason why I moved you out, HC.
What am I doing?
You're doing something.
You're making a really bad noise.
You will hear it on the Are you breathing?
Okay, something that I am breathing, yes, but
Like,
if any of you is going to say that's the problem, I swear. But
it sounds like you're blowing through a straw or sucking air through a straw is what it sounds like.
I'm saying, how about this? Are you breathing directly into the mic?
no.
Okay.
There it is again.
There it is again. Are you
Whatever you
using?
just did.
Are you doing this on
I
your
have no
phone?
idea. Yeah, I'm on my phone, but it's
Then just
not
set it down and don't do anything with it.
Yeah, it is down. Okay, how about now?
Is there a draft?
Unprofessionalism on the Berkcast. We're doing this during recording, but Christ, that's getting annoying.
Well, we're just saying what the
Oh,
audience is thinking, other than why am I listening
This-
to this for so long?
This is true.
is everything okay now?
Yes.
We'll find out.
Okay.
For now. We'll
now.
find out. Yeah.
We'll find out. Okay.
Anyway, as I
actually-
was saying
Go
before
ahead.
we all exploded, I was gonna say, actually, I was close to the end. I thought so. Basically, a lot of the post How to Train Your Dragon 1 pre, or even mid show, but pre How to Train Your Dragon 2, fan fictions suffered from the fact that it was just like the only two major female characters were Ruffna and Astrid. And given what we saw in the movies and even some of the show, like, which is why I say sub-mid show fan fictions, they didn't really have the personality to converse, or if they were, it was one, like, it was either Ruffna making fun of Astrid or Astrid just saying, like, why are you like this to them? And so rather than force them into an out of character situation or add a new character, because I hate writing, and so I could even assume making a new character would be even harder, that they kind of kept most of the characters and their character styles the same. So that's why a lot of these mid fandom fan fictions may not pass the test.
I was thinking about one of my How to Train Dragon fan fictions, and there is some because it's Astrid talking to another female character. Let's start with this. We have this criteria. The character is named, by the way, and but the thing is, the main reason they are talking and having a bit of a rivalry is because she believes someone connected to that girl killed her father in a war. So, does this count as passing by the edge of the skin, or does it not pass at all?
I don't know if again, the test is what the conversation is about, not the underlying reasons for the conversation. So, at least this plain vanilla test.
Like, if it's about a man, then yeah, it fails. Like, it doesn't
So
matter
unless
the
Astrid
context.
went up to this girl and say, "Hey, I think you're connected to somebody who killed my father. Let's talk," then
that still
it's
fails.
It's
I know.
pretty
I
much
said
like
if
this.
it does, if it okay. I was gonna say, because if it wasn't that, then. But since it is, the way you phrased it made it seem like she was trying to get information out of her without regarding her dad. Like,
No.
Where were you the night of the 15th?
No, like she literally you're part of a tribe that you're part of the tribe that killed my father. I hate you. It's pretty
My
much
name
like
is
this.
Astrid Hofferson. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Pretty much. Drop the accent and perfect.
My name is Astrid Hofferson. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Oh boy.
Is there a reason why Astrid sounds like she's transforming into Sean Connery toothless?
No.
Rush, you do not pass the Bechdel test. I'm sorry.
Well, I hope not. I'm a guy, so I mean.
Anyway, let me think about. I talked which doesn't pass. Let me think if there's one I like that maybe does pass.
All right, time's up. We're in a moment of
Yeah.
silence now. So time's up. Let's move on. All
First
fanfiction
X.
fails because all fanfiction is terrible. There you go.
You heard it here first.
Problem solved.
Demon Wolf specifically. Okay, did we go? I think we went over everything, didn't we?
And then some.
The graphic novels, but I would say both graphic novels fail.
Yeah, no, just no. I don't. Actually, let me open. Let's see.
Let's see. They both fail.
Thanks, Wolf.
No, I'm not.
I mean, there's no.
I wasn't talking about the graphic novels. Like, I agree with you. I just want to say if we didn't have any other pointers, and no, we don't. We pretty much. Yeah. I guess you could say the Berkcast doesn't pass the Bechdel test. There you go.
Of course we don't.
Did we have Leffy and Raid on, though, at one point? Both?
Yes, we did.
And they talked to each other?
They talked to us, but then again, they could have talked to each other. I don't remember. I need to read.
They had a bit of back and forth here and there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
we passed with that one.
Yeah, so actually, on episode after 99 episodes, we passed.
We passed.
Thanks to the...
But remember what HC said, it doesn't reflect the quality of the show.
Yeah, exactly. You know something? Yeah, it doesn't reflect the quality, but at least we passed something.
Arguably passed.
Arguably.
I'll come back to you on that. Actually, you know something? When we reviewed the first Hidden Wall trailer, we had Leffy and Voyager on, but that probably fails because I think all they had back, we talked about the trailer, and there's a specific part I remember we talked about hiccups. So even if there was any back and forth in there, I don't think we
talked about, just because it's the if it's the only thing that the two girls talked about, then yes, it's a fail. But if there's more than just that, it's a pass.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. But then again, does it count if we talked about if they talked about a man's beard, but not necessarily the man himself?
Yes, it counts because that's talking about him. Even if it's just about the beard, it's still talking about a thing that is.
But, here's a posting question for you. What if they talked about Stoic's ghost beard in the sky, telling Hiccup to remember who he is? That's not Stoic himself. That's Stoic's disembodied ghostly beard.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I just asked. What if the beard is sentient?
What is the ghost beard's gender?
It's a beard.
That's the question you have to ask. I mean,
it's a beard kid.
What does the ghost beard identify as? That's the question you have to ask. If the ghost beard identifies as male, then...
Well, when Stoic is shaving, he says, "Easy, girl."
Oh, God. What is this conversation?
Yeah, what is this even?
I blame you, HC. You're the one that got this started.
Yeah, thanks, HC.
Hey, no.
Yes,
brought this idea up.
Yeah,
he brought it up, but
it was
you
a
started
good idea. You didn't have to accept it.
So just blame me for the entire thing. I mean,
just end it already, HC, and our suffering.
Okay.
With that
said, that's all for this episode of the Berkcast. We hope you enjoyed. Do you think what do you think about the How to Train Your Dragon franchise passes the Bechdel test? Do you pass the Bechdel test? Whatever your thoughts are, let us know all about it in the comment section below, on our Tumblr, where we are known as Berkcast with a capital B, capital C, on our Twitter, where we are Berkcast with a... No, on Tumblr, we are Berkcast team.
Try again with this outro.
It's supposed to be a serious episode.
It was.
Okay.
It didn't end that way.
Our Tumblr is Berkcast team. Our Twitter is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C. And you can find all of us on the How to Train Dragon Valhalla Discord server. So before I lose my mind, I was HC.
I was Rush.
And I've been Wolf.
And you are very welcome to blame Rush for this episode. See you all next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.